Thanks so much for supporting our program. Donald Trump has figured out, and by the way, he probably figured this out when he was in high school, that appearance beats substance. It doesn't matter what he does or what other people do in his mind. What matters is the perception of it. That perception is everything. And so he campaigned on basically Sherrod Brown's position, the progressive Democrat from Ohio, the senator from Ohio, and my position, that we need to have a reasonable and progressive protectionist trade policy like every other developed country in the world does in order to keep manufacturing in the United States and rebuild our manufacturing base, which, by the way, is also a national security issue. Trump campaigned on that. And I personally know people who voted for him because of that, because they thought he's going to bring the jobs home. He's going to bring back good manufacturing jobs. He's going to bring back, we're sick and tired of buying cheap Chinese junk that falls apart, whether it's a toaster or an electric blanket or whatever it may be that falls apart in like the first week or 6 months that you have it, right? We're sick and tired of it. We'd like some American-made stuff. And so Trump said, we're going to do that. And he throws some tariffs on some Chinese stuff and says, see, I did it. And the Chinese go, oh, that's not very nice. And they complain loudly, and it looks like something's happening, right? Nothing's happening. Our trade deficit, the one that was just reported, was over $900 billion. The one from the previous year, almost $900 billion. Our trade deficits are worse than they've ever been. More and more stuff is being made in China and being shipped into the United States. Again, walk into a Walmart and try to find something made in the United States, or any store for that matter. But Trump has got this persona of, I've done this. And he actually hired a good guy, Robert Lighthizer, who's been on this program in the past, who understands trade. I respect Robert Lighthizer. And Trump put him in charge of his trade negotiations. And Lighthizer went over and tried to negotiate with China and work out a deal where he's saying, we want to actually stop Chinese subsidies of Chinese companies that are exporting to the United States. We want to stop the cyber theft. We want to stop the forcing of American companies to hand over intellectual property to Chinese partners. And we want some parity with regard to trade. And the Chinese were like, oh, yeah, sure, we'll talk about that, no problem. And they're in the middle of these negotiations. And it was supposed to be, March 1st was supposed to be the day that all these Chinese tariffs at 10% were supposed to go up to 25%, which would have really made the Chinese sit up and take notice. And Lighthizer is over there trying to actually negotiate with them. And Trump comes out and says, we'll work things out. We'll postpone the increase in tariffs. Don't worry. And it becomes obvious to the entire world that the guy is just BSing. He's just doing it for his domestic political audience, for his base. He's just trying to convince his base, who desperately want factory jobs, that they're coming. But he's lying to them, and he's not willing to do the hard work, and he's not willing to support Lighthizer. Anna Swanson wrote this piece for the New York Times. The headline, Trump undermines top trade advisor as he pushes for China deal. Right? You think jobs are coming home to America? Forget it. Not while Trump is in the White House. A couple of quotes here. President Trump has signaled he is moving toward peace with China in a trade-off as he backs off his threats to impose higher tariffs. The situation has left Mr. Trump's trade representative, Robert Lighthizer, in an uncomfortable bind. Mr. Trump has grown impatient with the talks, and a consensus is growing in Washington that Trump will ultimately accept a weak deal. By the way, that consensus is already obvious in China, because now they're just saying to Lighthizer, pfft. Again, quoting from the article, President has been dangling the idea of a signing summit with President Xi Jinping of China at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's Florida resort. Nice PR for Mar-a-Lago, get more people there, make more money. As a result, the president is undermining, writes Anna Swanson in the New York Times, Mr. Lighthizer. Eswar Prasad, a trade expert and former head of the China division of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, quote, Trump is certainly doing his negotiating team no favors by undercutting them in public. This weakens Lighthizer's leverage. He he says, oh, we've got substantial progress in our negotiations, so we're not going to do that increase, the higher tariffs on March 1st. And as a result, nothing's going to come out of this. Just like nothing came out of the Korea summit. The guy is all hat and no cattle, as Jim Hightower would say. It is a tragedy. It's truly a tragedy. I speak as an American patriot. It is truly a tragedy that this con artist is running this country right now. And we need to do everything we can to get ready for 2020 when we get a new president in here, if Trump doesn't get impeached in the meantime, for 2021, January 20th, 2021, when a new Democratic president and hopefully a new democratically controlled Senate and House are sworn in, and we can hit the ground running. We need to be doing that work. We need to be doing it now. And we need to be having reasonable, progressive conversations about trade and about things like tariffs and VAT taxes and things like that, because we really do need to change our trade policies. Thanks again for supporting our program.